Hi, I'm Julie Henricus. I'm the Executive Director of Sisters in Crime. And this Sync Forward video is about decentering yourself. So before I talk about that, let's start at the very beginning. In the United States, we have a dominant culture. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it's the truth. So that dominant culture is the lens through which we see everything. It's the lens through which we look at arts, through politics, everything else. It's maintaining that dominant culture structure. The changes that we're going through right now are about questioning that dominant culture, about opening up the lens so that it includes other voices, other people, other points of view, about not having the norm be defined by this dominant culture. So what do I mean by dominant culture? I think you know, the dominant culture in our society is, in the United States, is white, male, heteronormative, cisgendered. Cisgendered means that you identify yourself by the gender that you were born as, Christian, educated. I think that's, and able, fully able-bodied, not with no disabilities, either a physical or neuro diversity is not part of the dominant culture. So when I say that that's the lens through which we see everything, we all look at things and consider the norm or who's telling the story to be through that lens. And the challenge with that is that by not having that an inclusive lens, we are just reinforcing stereotypes and expectations that aren't helpful to any of us. We're maintaining the structures of the patriarchy and of white supremacy, both of which are very harmful to the rest of us and to people within that dominant culture. It's not working for any of us. And I think that that's part of what's going on right now, is that we're realizing this isn't working. Some people are desperately holding on, trying to make it work because it's about power. And that's not a successful way of living for any of us. So we're having conversations or discussions or disagreements, or we're book banning, or we're passing terrible legislation that is harmful to people because we're trying to hold on to that dominant culture. And what I offer to you is that that's not worth the effort it's taking. It's just not. Now, as writers and as crime writers, it's really important for us to recognize the role that the dominant culture plays in our lives. As somebody who is older, that dominant culture has affected my entire life, how I perceive myself, how I perceive things I write, everything. And it's insidious. We don't even know that it's happening, and we question it all the time. I think for younger people, they're already born questioning it a little bit more, and that's healthy for all of us to think about. So the topic of this Sync Forward is about decentering yourself. And this is specifically for us writers. When you're writing, you should, of course, write diverse characters and have the richness of your own life in your books. But right now, people tend to react to conversations around, is that your story to tell? Because as writers, we're pushing back against that. We're saying, yes, it is my story to tell because I'm a writer and I can tell stories from everyone else. I'm going to suggest that you take a moment and just sit with that. Is it your story to tell? Means if you're centering yourself in a novel, if you've got a point of view character who is the heart of the novel, suppose you're writing a novel, suppose I'm writing a novel about a Black woman, and she's the heart of the conversation. And I want to write about her experiences in Boston, around just living in Boston. Is that my story to tell? As empathetic as I can be, and I'm fairly empathetic, and as much research and as many conversations I can have with friends. I'm never going to fully understand what it is like to be a Black woman in Boston who grew up in the 70s. I'm just not. I can read about it. I can talk to people. I can do tons of research, but am I really going to understand that experience? No. If I'm writing a story and that's a central part of the story, my question that I offer you is to ask yourself, is this my story to tell? Do I need to decenter myself and my belief that I can tell any story and make space for somebody who has had that experience to tell the story? Right? Do I need to rethink my novel and my point of view so that I am decentering my own experience to open it up to other experiences? And might that mean that I need to rethink the novel itself? Again, as creative people, you can do anything you want to do. The question is, should you do it? Even with the best of intentions and the most research in the world, is it your story to tell? Is it a conversation that would be better held by somebody else? Is it a good time in your career or your life to make space for other people to have these conversations? I do believe strongly that we all need to create rich and diverse characters in our stories and in our lives. What I'm suggesting is that you take the experience that you have, whatever your relationship with the dominant culture is, and you consider that framing that you use, and you ask yourself, is this serving the story? Am I getting in the way of the story? Do I need to decenter myself in order to better tell this story? Decentering yourself doesn't mean that you're losing anything. It means that you're gaining perspective, that you're making space for other people's stories, and that we're making our culture richer and more interesting and more authentic by having these stories told in authentic voices.